I'm doing very good. Real quick, just introduce yourself before we before we go down a hole and just start talking and don't know where the fuck we came from. So introduce yourself real quick.
Hello, my friend Thomas. My name's Tony Tedeshi. I am a retired New York City fire captain. Spent a great part of my career in special operations. Moved down here to the Maryland area, down by Ocean City for a little bit of the good life. Prior to that, I worked for the NYPD. I worked in what was called street narcotics. And prior to that, I worked as an EMT CC for the New York City EMS, which is now part of the FDNY as the FDNY EMS Bureau. So I got to play a little. Yep. And I'm part of the Coast Guard Auxiliary down here now because I still have that need to serve and do something.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you're a multifaceted guy. I didn't know you did EMS. Yeah, man, dude, I cannot get Big Mike off my mind. For everyone listening, Tony and I have a mutual friend at the gym. Looked like Guy Fieri, but with tattoos and gold chains. And I guess he passed away we've been quarantined, so the gym's been closed for a month. But I guess he passed away on vacation on St. Paddy's Day. Do you know what the cause was? If it's the obituary said unexpectedly, so I'm guessing a heart attack or something, aneurysm, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Mike was at the gym every day, which is one of the things you say to yourself. There was a guy that came to the gym every day. Obviously, you spoke to him. He had a pretty illustrious, and when you read, which I didn't even realize when I read through his obituary, that he played pro football. He did have a year of pro football. He played for, I think it was Texas A&M. He was into big time football, and he certainly discussed that in his previous time.
Yeah.
I know he was a little beat up. Those guys that played heavy duty football.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I didn't say how he passed away, and I just happened to come across it. And thank God his picture was in the paper, because that's what grabbed me. And I was like, oh, and I tell you what, I've only known the guy for a couple of years. Like I said, I'm fairly new down here, just like I met you at the gym. Yeah. And it was like a punch in the gut.
Dude,
I was like,
same.
Man, Big Mike.
I've known him maybe since like late 2017, maybe like mid 2018. I've barely known him for 2 years, dude. And it was the same thing, dude. Dude, there's a guy I know from high school that I knew from like middle school, passed away on like the first Monday of March, 28, just random cardiac anomaly. And like that hurt. But I've lost a sibling 6 years ago next Wednesday. And since that time, not to be cold, but I've almost become numb to a lot of it. I've lost aunts and uncles since then. And I've just, you miss them all and they're all sad. But I think after my brother, it's just, they all kind of, frankly, they just pale in comparison.
Right.
But dude, Big Mike, that one hurt, dude. That one. Dude,
you know what it is? And when I read the article, they really did nail it. He was such a big-hearted guy. I met him, and I'm from New York, so I'm not the most friendly, warm, inviting guy. When I'm at the gym, you've seen me there. I'm pretty much, I get in my zone. I walk around with my little, skull cap on. Yeah. I'm sure people think I'm kind of a weird dude. I don't really talk to anyone because I'm focused on what I'm doing. I want to get in. I want to get out. Like, I'll say hello to you. Yeah. But Mike was just one of those guys. He struck up a conversation, and he just became a fast friend. And
dude,
and it was like a guy. When you talk to someone and you say, "Man, I felt like I knew the guy for 100 years, and I didn't know him at all."
Yeah, it felt like Big Mike was like an uncle I hadn't seen. Big Mike was kind of like a campfire, dude. Like, even if you weren't cold, you sit by it and you're like, "Oh fuck, this feels good." You're like, it's not even like, oh, I'm cold. It's like an August campfire when you sit down, you're sweating your balls off, and you sit down, and you're like, ooh, this is nice. That's what Big Mike was. Big Mike was a campfire.
And everybody knew Big Mike, and everybody was happy to see Big Mike. And, they really did kind of sum him up really well in the obituary, which, I was just, like you said, it was a punch in the gut. The only thing I would probably say would make him happy is that he died on St. Patrick's Day.
I know. That's part of the reason why that took off some of the
over to to his little spot there for happy hour.
Yeah.
And But man, I'm sure like if he got to pick a day,
Oh
he'd
yeah.
say,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
this
Oh
day,
yeah.
man.
And not only that, he told me he wanted to come on the podcast, and I'd always be like, because he always used to say he literally used to say, I've had an insane life, and I want to get my story out before I die.
Right.
So I used to text him all whenever I'd have an opening, like you. I'd always be like, "Yo, when do you want to do it, Mike?" He'd always be like, "Bitch, I'm on vacation." Like I have screenshots. I'd be like, "Not today, man. I got my feet." Or I'd be like, "I'm sleeping." I'd be like, "You're not sleeping. You're texting me right now." And he'd be like, "You know what I mean?" And I'd be like, "No, I don't know what you mean." And I'd always see him. He'd be like, "I'm busy. I'm at happy hour. I'm going to get a bite." But that's almost like I was so sad because I was like, oh my god, I never had him on. And then I went and immediately after you texted me, I went to my last conversation with him, and it was literally like for the 15th time, like, Big Mike, when you coming on? He's on vacation, and it was like, yeah, if Big Mike could choose any way it'd go, it'd be on vacation on St. Patty's Day. Yeah,
And it seems, listen, I think Mike had some medical issues. There was
Yeah.
no two words about it.
yeah,
But the guy was in the gym every day.
Every
You
day.
say these, well, yeah, he had some medical issues, but there was not a day that I went into that
Yeah.
gym, and I'm pretty consistent.
yeah,
Whether I'm in there 5 to 6 days a week, there was never a time I didn't see Big Mike. I
Yeah.
was happy to see him, even
Yeah.
if it was a pass.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, hey.
yeah. We'd always do this. We'd walk by each other and yeah, no, I mean, I remember I had talked to him a million times in the sauna. We'd chat. You know, he beat cancer like 6 times. Like he beat cancer like.
He's had some rough runs, man.
No, he did. He was always having surgery. He had a cane. I know he had 2 heart attacks. It's so he was used to say like I'm living on borrowed time. So I mean like, yeah. And you know what? The funniest thing is like you said, dude, like a punch in the fucking gut. You know, like if anyone else from the gym died, including you, I'd be like, oh man, that guy was awesome. But like I said, after my brother, they all kind of, I'd be like, but none of us live forever. God, man, Big Mike. Yeah, it was like I lost someone I had known for 50 years. I was just like,
You said you lost a guy that was like your uncle.
yeah.
And the thing with Mike, and I felt the same way. Like I said, and listen, I'm super callous to death. I've seen nothing but death my whole lifetime.
Exactly.
So I'm like, hey, being cold and calculated, like, yeah, I only know the guy like 2 years, and I only know him from the gym. We didn't social.
Yeah, never hung out outside.
But I knew him, and I was happy to see him all the time. But it was just that kind of guy that made the impact that. Like you said, when I saw it in the paper, and I just happened to be reading, I think it was like Ocean City Today or something like that, one of the local little papers, and I saw his picture, and I'm like, uh-oh. And at first I thought it was like an article on him, and then I read that it was the obituaries, and then when I read through the article, I'm like, I got to be wrong.
Yeah.
And Big Mike, I'm like, okay, this is his picture.
Yeah.
There's not many Big Mikes in West Ocean City that go to Powerhouse Gym.
Yeah.
Now Pure Fitness, and I just was like, wow, and it bothered me for the whole day. And I'm saying, well, that means that guy had an impact, obviously, on you, on me. And it wasn't that he did anything out of the ordinary or extraordinary. He just was. His way of communicating and greeting you, and however it was each time, just made that impact that when he did pass on, it was like, wow, this bothers me. I'm surprised. I have to say the same thing.
I'm surprised.
I've never experienced what you experienced, and I wouldn't want to. But yeah, it bothered me, and I'm pretty callous to death. I've had a lot of people around me die, and just a good man, and that's why he was a good man.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately for him, the only thing I would say that I'm disappointed in is because he died right at the time that they shut everything down with this coronavirus epidemic.
Can't go to the funeral.
Not going to get his due.
Yeah.
Because if they would have put something up at that gym, 3/4 of that gym would have went to his service.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure there's people right now like yourself that don't even know.
Well, I texted everyone I know from the gym. I texted. I'm friends with Dane, who's one of the managers. Obviously John, old John, his wife Katina.
Yeah. Oh, John, the 80-year-old guy.
Yeah, and his like 50-year-old wife. Yeah, I texted her, and because I have both their numbers, and she was like, "Oh my god!" It was the same thing. She was just like, "Oh no," like, "Oh," and it was just like the same. Yeah, I mean, I texted Dane, and Dane was like, like I heard, man, he was like, dude, like that was the guy, when I started working here, he was like, that was the guy that like made the job less like intimidating. Like, oh, I'm a new guy at a job. Like first day, he's like came up to me and started talking. It was just like, okay, if this guy's here, like I'm good. Yeah, man. It, like you said, dude, it bothered me all last night. I introduced my dad to you. Big Mike was one of the guys I introduced him to. I told my dad, and my dad has talked to him for all of 30 seconds in his whole life, and even my dad, his shoulders dropped. He was like, "Oh no," and like, yeah, man, it bothered me all last night. He was in all my dreams. I had all these weird existential dreams. I did cardio at obviously the gym. Everything's quarantined. So I've been doing cardio in my neighborhood. I mean, I'm like you, dude. Like religiously have to have music. I didn't even listen to music today, dude. I just walked around thinking of Big Mike. And then I thought, like, man, the funniest thing about Big Mike is, if he was here right now, like, you fucking pussies, grow a pair.
It's just it
Look at
happens.
these fucking
Dies,
everybody dies. Look at these. You guys got your tampons in, like, so that's exactly, man. And like you said, that's someone that I'm like, wow, like that's the importance of being an awesome person. Like when I die, like not like in some egotistical, like I want everyone to know me, but like when I die, I want people to be like, God damn, like, all right, like that guy was awesome. So yeah, rest in peace, Big Mike. And yeah, again, man, if you could choose a day, of course it'd be St. Patty's Day on vacation. I bet Big Mike.
Because when I read his full name, I never knew what his last name was. And once I read his full name, I'm like, oh, he was Irish.
Irish as fuck.
You kind of put it together. You look at him, you say, oh yeah, he looks like a big old Irish dude.
Yeah.
He liked to have a couple of pops,
Yeah.
and he was just a big, tough old dude.
Yeah.
And he was in the construction business.
Yeah.
I'm sure in his day he kicked tons of ass. And,
I'm sure he beat the shit out of him. Maybe killed a couple people. Who knows? There might be a couple people, and there might be a couple skeletons under the bridge. Who knows? Yeah, man.
But I'm sure that if you went to him, and he'd be the type of guy that you could even ask that question, like, "Hey, Mike, if you were going to check out, what day would you want it to be on?"
He wouldn't blink. He wouldn't blink. He'd be like St. Patty's Day or Christmas. He'd have it figured. He'd already have thought it through. He'd be like, oh yeah, no, he'd probably pull out Big Mike. Fat. He'd probably pull out like a little slip of paper and be like, yeah, I've got it checked off. I got a couple good ones. Yeah, that's the kind of guy he was. But yeah, goddamn, rest in peace, Big Mike. He was like the politically incorrect Guy Fieri. They looked the same, but he was covered in tattoos and gold chains. Like he was fucking awesome.
And then when you read the article, like things that you find out, like he liked dressing sharp, and you say, wow, you know what? I could see that. He was known for wearing like fedoras and stuff. Yeah. Like I could see that guy walking to a bar with the rings. He was almost like an Italian guy that wasn't Italian.
Yeah, kiss the rings, maybe a pinstripe suit,
one shirt. And, like a sharp dressed dude. I mean, obviously we saw him at the gym, but then you said, yeah, man, I could see that in him because of the way he came across, the way he carried himself.
Cigar, maybe like a tumbler of whiskey, some bourbon, big steak. I could see Big Mike, you come and kiss the ring or something. Yeah, I could see that.
The thing that's going to be actually weird, and you're probably going to experience the same thing, is like eventually this whole craziness will go away and we will go back to life semi-normal, hopefully. Mm-hmm. Go back to the gym, and then you realize, and like I didn't want to bring your head down, but I also said I got to tell this kid that Big Mike passed away.
Yeah,
like a few people, and then I didn't want to start firing it off to everybody because I mean people's heads are in the shitter as it is because of everything that's going on. But I knew that you had some really good in-depth conversations with him, that you were pretty tight with him on, and that we were going to be talking on the podcast. So I figured, you know what, he should know.
Yeah.
And because when we go back to the gym, it's almost going to be weird.
Yeah, it is.
You're going to know, like, thank God. I almost said, well, thank God we found out because
that would crush me if you told me at the gym.
Big Mike, man, anyone seen Big Mike? Where's Big Mike been?
Geez, dude,
I was worried with John too.
Yeah.
Old John. We call him Old John. I'm sure he doesn't like that, but he's 82 years old.
Dude,
like
he's gonna outlive us both.
For a few days, I'm like, where's John? Anybody seen John?
Yeah, that's happened. Where I haven't seen him for a couple days, and I'm like, where's John? He's motherfucker. He's 3 times my age. Like
he's 82. How many more years could it go? I hope 10 for him. I hope 15.
I could also see him outliving both of us. I could see him going to like 115. Like, yeah,
that guy's amazing.
That guy's dude. All those old guys, man. If you go at 4:30 in the morning, I don't know if you ever go Reddit when it opens. There's another John who kind of looks like a skinny John McCain, and and his friend Bob. They're both in their 80s, dude. They crush the elliptical. They're insane. But yeah, I was kind of thinking yesterday. I kind of laughed. I was like, I mean, this is what I get for making a bunch of like friends like 20 years older than my parents. Like, it was only a matter of time.
But
But
a bunch of old dude friends. But hey, listen, I'm in my 50s and I say the same thing.
Yeah.
My wife makes fun of me all the time. She's like, "Oh yeah, with your old friends again? You talking to your old guy friends?"
yeah,
I'm like, "Yeah, well, that's what happened. I moved down here and I retired, and now I'm an old guy hanging out with old guys. Except I'm not as old as they are."
yeah. No, I always kind of laugh about that because I refer to them just as like, because everyone I know for my whole life is in Georgia. So, living up here with my parents, it's kind of my new social life has just been all these old guys at the gym. But because they're the only guys I know, you only call someone old in relation to other people. But because they're the only like friends I have, I've just come to call them my friends because there's no young people to compare them to that makes them old. So everyone's, I'll keep saying friends, and then I'll say something like, yeah, no, like, he served in Korea, and someone will be like, how fucking old are your friends? And I'll be like, oh, like late 80s. Yeah, no, I remember, he served, he was drafted in Vietnam, and they'll be like, I thought you said this guy was your friend. Like, yeah, no, yeah, they remember like the early Cold War. But yeah, man, goddamn, yeah. But so I'm glad we needed to discuss Big Mike. And I'm glad you told me, man, because that bothered me. I'm sure if I'd got to the gym and just hadn't seen him, and someone told me, dude, I think I'd probably break down. I'm glad like I found that out like alone. Was like got to have a minute and think about Mike. I would, yeah, dude, I would have fucking lost it. It's just terrible.
What's nice is we got to memorialize him.
Exactly, we had our little Big Mike funeral.
And I'm sure they're going to have some kind of celebration of life afterwards. But and a lot of people, this has happened to a lot of people while this is all going on. It's like that guy deserved it, and so I'm sure he'll have a little bit of his due. But hey, it's a little something that we could do prior to.
Exactly.
And we're going through this craziness of this pandemic. Well, hey, Big Mikey, we still didn't forget you, man.
Yeah.
Because he'd be going stir crazy too. He'd be
he'd be going fucking nuts. That's probably why he's on vacation. He's probably fucking day drinking. I gotta get the fuck out of here, man. Fuck this place.
That's
dude.
Probably exactly what he said.
It's probably. I'm sure Big Mike went out in a fucking 3-piece suit with a cigar and like 10 pounds of gold chains on. I bet they're gonna need 2 forklifts to lower his grave because he's gonna have on 30 pounds of gold. That's yeah. They're gonna have to put that thing in a lead coffin because if someone found out how much gold he had on, there'd be grave diggers. But yeah, man. But that's true though. I mean, dude, even the guy I knew from Georgia, from middle school and high school, Matty, he was 28. Yeah, man, and everyone I know. I mean, he was again. When everyone dies, people always say nice things about him, but someone like Big Mike, it's like, no, he really was a saint. Same with this guy, Matty. Like, I mean, everyone knew him. And it's the same thing, though, dude. It's like they couldn't do a funeral service. It was like his twin brother, his older brother, and his father. Like, his mom passed away last year. But that's all they could do. Like, and his dad's a physician. His dad was like, we can't have a funeral service. His dad's a physician, like, at Emory, the huge disease, like, hospital in Atlanta. He's like, we can't do. So it's like, yeah, it's a weird thing because, yeah, people aren't getting their proper memorials. But, yeah, man, it's insane. But, yeah, I keep thinking about coronavirus, and, like, there is a silver lining, and it's going to be just how great shit is that we took for granted. That's one thing I keep thinking about is like just everyday life is gonna seem sweeter. It's gonna be like just going to the fucking gym. Like that's gonna be like fuck yeah, the gym, the sauna, like
And listen, I would get kooky not going to the gym just in general. Like I'm doing the same thing. I'm running around the neighborhood, but I don't particularly love to run all the time, and it eventually beats up my knees. So like, okay, I run, I bike. You're trying to keep your social distance, do the right thing. Like you said, I hope, and I'm very pessimistic about it. And Mike would be a guy I would love to talk to about this when it was all over. Yeah. Would be that this is kind of like a reset button. And some of these entitled, spoiled, motherfucking brat idiots that are out there just realize, like, hey, man, life is precious.
Yeah.
And day is a gift, and I'm not getting all spiritual and
No,
crazy, but
is.
you should really appreciate things a little bit more. And like everybody's blaming everybody now. Oh, this guy didn't do a good job. This guy, fuck Trump. Fuck this guy. Like, listen, I'm into personal accountability. So any one of the governors of any of these states, guess what, man? You weren't prepared.
Yeah.
You weren't prepared for when this happened. Yeah, maybe the federal government stumbled a little bit too, but guess what? Everyone always jumps up and down. Oh, it's supposed to be the states running everything. Yeah. I want people to come away from this, and I got 3 young daughters. 2 of them still live up in New York, and it's a pretty hard-hit area. And I told them, this is personal accountability. And what people are not doing, even in the face of all this craziness with the coronavirus, and I'll use New York as an example. I'll beat up my old hometown. They talked about all the social distancing, right? And I was one of the guys that kind of downplayed this a little bit in the beginning.
Oh, me too. I'm guilty as charged.
And just said, hey, but I still believe in that. We kind of got to take a look at what's going on. I think we moved too fast, too far, too fast. But in the end, in the grand scheme of things, okay, maybe some of that was good now. But things are getting worse, or especially up in New York and some of the more condensed areas, and like here for us in Maryland, up in Baltimore, because people are not listening.
Yeah.
When they say stay home, shelter in place. Now, we live down here in a resort area. The big argument down here is a lot of people own second homes down here.
Yeah.
So what do they want to do? They want to truck out of wherever they are, that's bad, and come down to their second home. Well, my line to that is simple. When I own a second home, I pay taxes. You can't tell me where I can go. And well, yeah, I guess you're right. I can't tell you where you can go. But you know what shelter in place means? That's what it means. Stay in the place you're in. Not shelter where you want.
Yeah.
It's shelter in place.
Yeah.
It's in your place, because now you're taking from wherever you are. And I feel really bad that in your area. I have 2 daughters that are up in Suffolk County, Long Island right now, which now has become the epicenter of New York.
Oh, dude, my aunt, uncle, and 2 cousins are right. They're like 30 minutes from Manhattan. Yeah.
Right. So you know what's going on? All the hipsters and millennials and spoiled brats from Manhattan, what they do, they all poured out to the Hamptons, which is out on the eastern end of Long Island. So the Hamptons is kind of like the beachy resort area that we have down here.
Billionaires Row, yeah.
They all, trucked out there from the 5 boroughs, and guess what? That's in Suffolk County, Long Island. Now the cases in Suffolk County, Long Island have skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Why? Because these people, and they're still going back and forth. Still to this day.
Yeah. I got to be the devil's advocate there. There's a girl that I'm great friends with from college, and she and I are cartoonishly politically opposite. Like, it almost seems like a bad, like, SNL skit, right? I mean, just diametrically opposed. But I will give credit where it's due. First, I'm guilty of downplaying this and being like, it's not that bad. But I was looking at her Instagram the other day, and, she fucking hates Trump more than anyone on the planet. But I saw her thing, and it was like, to everyone, like, leaving the state and everyone trying to, resist the quarantine, she was like, stay the fuck home. She was like, what do you not get? There are 5 things you need to do. 1, stay the fuck home. 2 through 5, repeat number 1. She was like, don't move. She was like, it doesn't matter if you don't like the president. And I was reading this, and I was just like, fucking golf clap. Like, here I am, like, playing it down. And here's this person who, like I said, her and I are cartoonishly opposite ends on the political spectrum. But here she is going, she was like, this isn't political. She was like, everyone stay the fuck home. Her name's Laura. I won't say her last name, but shout out Laura. She was just like, everyone going around and leaving Manhattan and, going on little vacations. She was like, go fuck yourself. And I was just like,
yeah, and listen, I'm okay that you're opposed to the president. I happen to support the guy.
That's what makes it so awesome is you're allowed to hate him.
As long as you're not about that.
No, she's brilliant.
And scream and yell and say, we must, but then you don't do it. So if you want to pass blame, then you better be practicing personal accountability. So don't blame this guy and blast him. And did he do everything right? No. But, nobody did everything right.
Yeah.
We could go back the blame game for years and years and years. We can go back and start blaming previous administrations. In the end,
you can go back to the 1800s. Yeah, I have friends and family on both sides of the, and I mean, this girl Laura she's awesome. I love her. Shout out Laura. There are people on both sides saying like the Obama administration used up all the PPE equipment, which is true, but hey, Trump administration didn't replenish it. He's been in for 4 years now. He's had time to replenish it. It's not a valid excuse anymore. So it's
I said right.
Personal accountability. It's personal. It's all of it's from the federal government, the previous administrations, the current, but it's also down to you and I. What are we doing? Are you staying home? Okay, good. Are you like you, man? I get mentally unstable when I don't go to the gym. So I've been walking around the neighborhood. I've been doing speed walking, running, been doing push-ups in the driveway like a crazy person. It's it's personal accountability from the president to the governor to the local gym owner.
People have to take ownership.
Yeah, you gotta own it.
You and I have discussed Jocko Willink, right? Yeah. He has obviously a very popular podcast. Listen to a lot of his stuff. He wrote the book Extreme Ownership. You've had a bunch of those special ops guys, well as Dale Comstock or the other guy. When you listen to those guys talk, they don't blame anybody for anything. They always, take ownership of what went right, what went wrong, and then you move forward. And that hopefully even in this situation, right?
Yeah.
You'll learn that everybody learns something from this. Because this is certainly history making. I've been around. I've seen a lot of really bad shit, from 9/11 to plane crashes to major disasters all over the country. When I used to be a part of the New York Task Force 1, the FEMA team, this is major, heavy-duty history-making stuff where everyone in the country is affected. Like 9/11 was horrible and people were emotionally affected, but not like day-to-day life was still normal.
Physical life. Yeah.
Now, everyone's day-to-day life, with the exception of a few states and people jumping up and down about the states not declaring, stay-at-home orders. Well, they don't have any cases. Their neighbors, when you have a neighbor that's 7 miles away, that's pretty good social statistic.
When you're in Montana, you're fine. Yeah, congratulations, right, Montana. Yeah, but you're right, man.
They hope that people come away and say, and they used a quote from Queen Elizabeth just the other day, and I actually think it's a great quote too. She said, hopefully people will come away from this eventually and be proud of what they did.
Yes.
Meaning you did the right thing. For all the knuckleheads that decided to shelter where they wanted, come down to Ocean City, go down to the beaches, in Jersey, go out to the Hamptons in Long Island, you didn't do the right thing.
Yeah.
So you can complain about anyone, the governor, the mayor, the president. You personally blew it. You blew it first. That's the first cog in the chain that broke. Then you can complain about the rest of the chain, but you broke the first link. You. And I'll give my wife a lot of credit. Like, I've been pretty resistant to a lot of this stuff because I'm very against the sheep herd mentality, which I think happened with a lot of people, at least initially. Like, I'll just use a perfect example. She's really bent on, got to stay in the house. We got to stay in the house, and we do. We don't go anywhere. We walk around the neighborhood and we see people. The social distancing is probably 2 to 3 times the size. So, like, we needed food. And I said, all right, I'm going to go to the store. She's like, no, you're not going to the store. We're not going. They said we got to stay home. And it's like one of the first times I paid for a store to deliver my groceries. They did a great job. I was completely resistant to it. But you know what? In the end, you're right. And I could look back at it and just say, all right, that was the right thing to do. Can't let your ego get in the way sometimes. Even though I disagree with some things, all right, this is what they're saying. You're telling me to stay home? I'll stay home for the next 2 weeks. I won't leave my house. I'll just dig some dirt in my yard and paint another room and hang another door, whatever it is.
Stay busy.
I could lay my head down saying I did the right thing, and other people didn't. And that's why it's not going away right away. Obviously, there's the other obvious reasons, but if people did a better job, I'll give you a perfect example. I love to use this one as an example. They jumped up and down with Trump sending the hospital ships to New York. He got the hospital ships to New York and California pretty quickly. There was a picture now, and I talked to a lot of my friends back in New York, and it's really bad there. So I'm not marginalizing it. It's really bad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people dying, really bad. So here comes the hospital ship into New York Harbor. Is that historic? Yeah, damn straight it's historic. And all along the West Side Highway, right, which overlooks down into New York Harbor, is just mountains of people. They have pictures of them on Instagram, on Facebook, all over. And and people are like, look, and here's historic moment. The U.S. Navy Comfort coming in. I'm like, it's a hospital ship coming to New York.
Because
why coming to New York?
Because there's a contagious virus
going on, and you shouldn't be outside. But you're outside celebrating the hospital ship. Exactly. And you just say to yourself, what more? Like you can't get through to those people, and those are the people be the first ones in line to either say gimme, 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 or you did it wrong. You. Yeah, I got a picture of you on the West Side Highway standing six centimeters from the guy next to you that you may or may not have known anyway, watching a boat come in. Guess what? You can watch it on TV and go, oh, wow.
Yeah, it's...
We're going to miss history. Yeah. We've got plenty of media. You won't miss history.
Yeah, there's something about it that's like, this is not like 9/11 in that, like on 9/11, if you had just gone to any random like city, but you had just muted the TV and the radio, you wouldn't know it happened. I mean, you'd eventually you might notice that there aren't planes in the sky. But aside from that, like, life went on. This is different in that there's not an inch of the globe that it's not spreading. And the thing is this is also unique in that, again, 9/11, ultimately, very few of us could do anything. You know, you have your first responder. You could donate blood, sure. Donate money, but I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's a very helpless, like, what the fuck do I do? This is different in that, like, you can be like you can make a massive difference by just staying inside. Like, exponential growth, which is what viruses do, not only in their intracellular reproduction, but also how they spread throughout society. I mean, what's exponential? 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. 30 days of doubling is 1 billion, all right? So, like, by staying inside, like, you are doing a massive thing. And not only that, dude, it's like people like me and even like yourself, we're not going to die from it. We're going to get a bad cough. We're going to be sick as fuck for a couple days. But it's going to be no different than a flu. The people who are going to die, it's going to be like the guys we work out with. It's going to be people like Big Mike. It's going to be people like that. Like, if Big Mike got it, like, that would kill him. Like, that guy, there's no way that guy wouldn't have, like, breathing problems. And so that is where it's infuriating. Because it's like everyone going out and, like, ignoring it. Like, dude, you're not the one who's getting fucked. You know, if you're 90 and you're like, fuck this, I'm going to the bars, that's bad. But at the same time, like, I kind of get it. Like, whatever. You might die anyway. I'm not condoning it. But, like, if old John was like, I'm going to the bars and drinking, I mean, I'm not going to tell him no. But it's everyone who's going out. Yeah, good luck. But it's everyone who's going out, and it's like, fuck it, like, carpe diem, like, young and dumb. Like, dude, like, it's not going to affect you. You're going to vomit for a couple days and have a good story. But, like, Bob over here's mom is going to die. You know?
Yeah, well, what happens if you bring it home? Like, I have my in-laws live here down here with me. They're in their 80s. I call my father, who lives up in Brooklyn, New York. He's 89 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and he you know, like, in the neighborhood he lives up in Park Slope, New York. He thinks he's the mayor. He walks around, he talks to everybody, you know, and he's a very healthy guy because he goes out and walks 30, 40 blocks a day, but he can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I call him on the phone. My daughters call him and say, like, look, you have to stay in. And if I was in New York, I wouldn't be going anywhere near them. Like with my in-laws here, we don't go anywhere near them. We haven't seen them since this whole thing started. the same thing. First, we were, going to the store and doing their grocery shopping for them and leaving them on their front step. We're not even doing that anymore. I did the order for me to do the groceries, and then we sent them an order.
Yeah.
So, and that's just the reality of what it is, and that you have to be careful. Like, not yourself. But, who do you, even if you become a carrier, now they're saying that there's asymptomatic carriers.
Well, yeah.
That you can actually virus, not get sick at all, because your immune system is amazing. And, but if you come in contact with somebody that's immunocompromised or whatever it may be, well, hey, man, you can send down the shitter. And that's what's happening with a lot of people. Anyone with underlying conditions, anything, it's almost like anything. This virus is taking you down to your knees, if not right out.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening in New York. It's a lot of the people that have, yes, there are some anomalies where a perfectly healthy guy, dies and gets pneumonia. And you can make the argument that a lot of people die of pneumonia. A lot of people die of the flu. The numbers of the flu deaths are still higher than the numbers that are, of coronavirus. It doesn't mean marginalize it. Yeah. It's the spread that there's no vaccine. But it is what it is. Like you have to look at the big picture, which people aren't. Like, we are completely panicking, and I think that we need to take steps without a doubt. And everyone's blaming everybody, and the worst out of all of them, the politicians, because they say one thing on one day, something else on the other day. Trump's a xenophobe and a racist for stopping people at the border. China, Right? Once the European Union stops and closes all their borders, which they needed to do, then it was okay.
Yeah.
And it was, if the guy comes out and he's optimistic, well, he's lying. He's not listening to. Then when he comes out and he's like all sullen and saying it's bad, he should be more optimistic. It's like, okay, everyone, enough. The one thing that I could say is a major difference between 9/11 and now, and I find it very disheartening, is at 9/11, and I was, part of New York City Fire Department then, so I was right in the middle of everything. The one thing I could tell you that was a great motivator for the first responders that worked down there, and I spent 10 months of my life down there digging, was that this country really came together. And everybody, politicians, Republicans, Democrats, independents, whatever it may be, everybody was on the same team, even if they didn't agree. Political views.
Rally around
on the same team. Now we have the one Camp A and Camp B, and it's
disgusting on both sides.
The one thing, and unfortunately, I don't think it'll ever happen, but this has shown that. And this should be for both sides, not just Democrats, Democrats and Republicans alike. This should be where they enact term limits, because you need a rotation of fresh ideas and fresh minds, and not such ingrained, disgusting ideology.
Because done with those people, dude. Those congressmen and senators, and this isn't the other side thing. All of them, they don't live in real life, man. You've got security, you got Secret Service details. You're all millionaires. You guys have preferential treatment. I mean, dude, you guys all have tickets.
How do they all become millionaires? That's the key. Yeah. Like, people, no one ever bats an eye about that. And a lot of them talk about big business and how evil big business is. How do everyone that goes into Congress, now they make like 170 G's a year. That's good money, but that's not millionaire money.
Yeah.
How do they all walk out millionaires? And on both sides, like the one thing that I think, and I think, again, the media downplayed it, again, disappointing. And both sides of the fence are guilty of this, both of them. Just before the whole thing really blew up.
Oh, the insider trading?
There you go.
Those
you hit the nail right on the head.
Those
Republicans and Democrats, and they have the fucking balls to go on TV and say, I didn't do anything illegal. I didn't know. My money manager holds. One guy had like 1.2 million in holdings. Your guy moves 1.2 million in holdings, and doesn't call you and notify you, and you don't go home, okay, and just happens to be before a fucking pandemic hits? Come on, man.
Yeah.
We're not that fucking stupid.
And
these people, those elitist prick motherfuckers, just like the ones that run out to the eastern end of Long Island, because they're all elitist pricks, think regular guys like me and you and everyone else, and Big Mike, God rest his soul, we're just dumb. We don't know. We can't figure it out. I'm smart. I'll tell you how to live. And listen, I lived in New York my whole life. I don't want anyone from that fucking state telling me how to live, or California, or anyone. Don't tell me how to live. You guys are a bunch of jerk-offs. I've seen the mess you made in this place. Absolutely, positively, no way. But they think that they're smarter than us, and the politicians are even worse. Like, you don't think that we saw through this? It was a girl that was a Democrat, a man that was a Republican. I don't even know their names. And they're going to be able to walk away from this. Now, listen, all of us who have money in 401ks and this and that, everyone just got kicked in the cock.
Everyone just got fucked.
Except for the select few. And he happened to do it just after a meeting.
Just after a fucking Intel meeting. An Intel meeting to tell you, hey, there's a pandemic that, hey, it's fucking up the globe. And
hey,
you
man,
just happen to...
coincidental. It's just coincidental. Don't look behind the camera.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing, man.
That's a certain level of filth. And, you know, I'm glad it happened to Republicans and Democrats, because maybe we can all see, hey, it's not us, it's not the other side. It's a couple of fucking pricks, and it's all of them versus all of us. All of our differences, these are all very convenient to them, all right? If we're sitting here arguing about abortion or xenophobia, that's fantastic for the motherfuckers. What George Carlin say, you keep the middle class and the lower class and the Republicans and the Democrats arguing, while the rich run away with all the fucking money. Like, it's true, though.
And think about when they were trying to pass that bill, right? And this is something that has bewildered me for years in politics. But now we're in the middle of the pandemic, and the government says we're going to try to truck money out to everyone in the country, which is like an amazing thing when you think about it. We're going to send everybody money.
Yeah.
So you would think that most of the progressives and uber liberals would be like, whoa, this is what we've been asking for our whole lives. Somehow, some way, we need $35,000 for the Kennedy Center, X amount of dollars for this stuff, things that have nothing to do with coronavirus.
Yeah.
Why, in God's name, and take even this bill out, when it's something that's vitally important, why does it have to have anything attached to it? Anything. Is that not completely condemned? It should have just been, we're going to pass $2 billion. Yeah. This is what it's for. You know, we're going to send this money to here, money to there, money to this. Not when you look through that bill, it's and the things like emission standards. We have people that are out of work, man, and they're out of work because the government said we're shutting the country down.
Yeah.
So I'm not big on handouts. I'm actually an anti-handout guy.
Yeah.
But this is the time when it's needed. Now the government needs to give money to people to get by.
No,
you told us to stay home. You got it. Yes, sir. I'll stay home.
I'll do my part, but you can't. Yeah,
pay my bills.
You can't. There's too many people that live. Yeah, and dude, I'll say this. I mean, even as a conservative person, hey man, I'm the first to eat the big slice of humble pie and be like, everyone needs money right now. Period. It doesn't matter if you're fucking red or blue. It does not.
I'm in 100% support of that.
It's I'll eat the slice of humble pie and
sickened. And it took X amount of days of negotiation.
It should have been 30 seconds. It should have been 30 seconds.
Zero. Here it is. Oh, well, if you give me money for this, I'll sign that. Like, when you look at the shit that got attached to that bill, and there's people that have no problem with that.
Yeah.
And so I won't say who, like, we know how it happened. We know who attached it. But the point is, that's okay to you? Yeah. That's okay that for 2 or 3 or 4 more days, I think it took them days, like, they needed this money immediately. You know, anything the government does is very slow. So they passed this bill weeks ago. No one's gotten a fucking cent yet.
Yeah.
So those 4 days make a difference.
Yeah,
because
and
before he's closer to people getting money.
but what's even more insidious is that there are some people who are okay with it, but it's not because they're okay with the the shitty nature of what it is the politicians are doing. They're okay with it because it's because, and it's by design. It's because they don't have time to negotiate. They can't. There's no. The vast majority of people, as much as we might be disgusted about all the bills for this park and this whatever memorial, the reality is people like thankfully I'm not hurting, but the massive majority of America that is, they don't have any bargaining chips. They can't go, hold on. You will get the stimulus check, but you got to take out that thing with the Kennedy Center. No, they're going, fuck it, put in whatever you want, whatever passes the bill. And the elite fucking pricks at the top, they know that. They have bargaining chips because they're not getting hurt. Again, Secret Service details, prime healthcare. Not only that, they all have Raven Rock by Garrett Graff, my favorite book. I plug it every episode. They all have golden tickets to nuclear bunkers at Mount Weather, at Raven Rock, at NORAD, and in the Catoctin Mountains. None of them are hurting. They all have suites in nuclear hardened bunkers. Literally, if you're in Congress, with a gold plate with your name on it. They have underground hospitals, and this isn't some conspiracy shit. This is all under Eisenhower. They all have, literally, coronavirus is the least of their problems. They can take on a nuclear war. So they have all the time in the world. Mind you, there are helicopters designated for each individual Congress member. You literally have like ticket numbers for these helicopters where they will swoop onto your front lawn, pick you up, and with armed guards, no one's blocking you. They don't have anything to worry about. And it's great that it is. It's great. Well, it's great that we have that because that shows that we're protected from nuclear war. But right now, it's those people going, hey, I'm not fucked no matter what. So I'm going to need some money for this new Boeing factory, or I'm going to need money for this new cultural arts things. Meanwhile, Bob at home, he, as much as he may be disgusted by the government spending, he has no time to go, hold on. I know I have 4 kids to feed, but I'll hold up on that. No money for the Kennedys. No, he's going, you got me by the balls, whatever. So no one has any bargaining chips. So a lot of people that are okay with it, they're not okay with it. They just don't have, they got nothing. They got nothing to argue with. Like, if it's like how, torture can be ineffective against detainees because when you have someone awake for 90 hours and you're waterboarding them, they're probably just going to fucking admit to it just so you stop. Even if they're like, I didn't do that. They're not going to go, you're burning my feet alive, but I didn't do that crime. You get to a point where you're like, I don't fucking care. Sure, I did it. Stop. So all these bills coming out, it's like...
When I say to people that don't care, it's not like the regular Joe that doesn't care. It's those politicians. I mean, think about it. This is another thing, right? And it gets glossed over. I want to yell out at everybody, even the conservative media outlets. How the fuck was Congress in recess while this was going on? Why was the House of Representatives in recess? Hey, note, there's a fucking pandemic going on. Yeah. You might want to come to work, essential worker.
Yeah, you gotta.
If you get flown to some fucking bunker, okay, I got it. We got to keep our government alive. Then fucking work.
Then get on the computer. Up. Get on the computer. Everyone else is working from home. You guys can. I'm sure you guys got some perfect encrypted high-speed internet, right? But it is, and not only that is. Within the politicians, let's say there's a politician that stands up and says, no, I'm not for all this pork barrel spending. You got to get this to the people. Or, I'm not for this. I'm not going to let it go through. Sucks to be that guy because now people can go, oh, so you're delaying the stimulus check? So it's...
Well, that's exactly what they do.
Exactly. You're goddamned either way. And it kind of seems like this is all just going to have to go through. But goddamn, I hope it opens the eyes of everyone on both sides alike. This isn't the left or the right. This is everyone, man. Hey, maybe you can see when push comes to shove, you can see just how little of a fuck they really give about you. just how little of a fuck you're seeing it right now. You're seeing it right now. Just how little of a fuck they give. I know that we all kind of know they don't care, but now you're really seeing it going, well, I know that you guys all lost your job and there are murder suicides all over the country because there are people that don't want them and their loved ones to live through this, but I'm going to dump 5.5 million of stock. And once I'm finished with that, well, I've always wanted this memorial downtown. So I'm going to get it's just like, dude, this is the 2020 version of let them eat cake. Like, but that's what we're seeing. Give them bread and circus. So
it goes back to what we said, like, hopefully we learn from this or we come away with something from this, and that some of, especially your younger generation sees that, that whole pie in the sky thing that a lot of those politicians have promised, that it's not legit, and you just hit the nail on the head. They fucked. Don't care about you.
Yeah, George Carlin. So, yeah. There's a big club, and guess what? You ain't in it. Like, yeah, you ain't in it.
I saw something, whether it was on Facebook or something, like George Carlin, and he's been dead a long time, but that guy was a pretty insightful dude.
Motherfucker.
He had like a whole skit.
The American Dream.
Kind of, about, but how fucked up politicians are, and when shit is bad and like pandemic, I don't know if you use the word pandemic, but like if shit goes really bad and you listen to it and you're like, oh my God, this guy was dead on.
Yeah.
I mean, not even like, oh, you can infer that.
Yeah.
He was dead on.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Holy.
Yeah. It's,
there's some people that have insight and saw it a long time ago,
Yeah. George Carlin.
Others just didn't pay attention.
Lesser known Bill Hicks, but yeah, no, God damn, he hit the nail on the head. But yeah, his whole American Dream thing. He's like, there's a big club and you ain't in it. They want you smart enough to work the machines, but they want you dumb enough to not question that you're getting fucked every day of the week. Yeah, he's like, it's a big club and you ain't in it. And they use that big club to beat you over the head with it. And there's a big guy at the front door and you ain't in it. I'm not in it. None of us are in it. You know why they call it the American Dream? Because you have to be asleep to believe it. I mean, I'm as pro-American as you get. George Carlin, he definitely shit on America. But goddamn, that's one of the things where you look at it and you're like, hey, we're seeing it now. There's a big club and you ain't in it. It's, yeah, it's.
Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-government.
No. It's
and I love for a lot of the things that we stand for. But when you get down into the fucking minutia of how they operate and what they do, and when it really comes down to, right, we elect our representatives. They're supposed to represent us. They're supposed to be, the people that look out for us. They're our advocates. That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
They're not our advocates. They're worrying about nonsense and garbage. And when push really comes to shove, and just in general in life, you could always kind of tell whether it was a group of friends or people you were working with, a corporation, whatever, company, unit, whether you're a first responder in the military, who rose to the occasion when shit was on and who scurried into a hole or who did nothing. And, I think we've seen a lot of people here do a lot of scurrying. They come out and they pound their chest and then they run back away.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing anything. It's easy for me to say, Tommy, you should have done a better job with, and, no one, and it amazes me because it's the highest levels of our leadership, right? That we have now seen. No one is taking any ownership of anything.
Yeah.
They're just they want all the accolades of look what we did for you.
Yeah.
But when it comes to really drilling down, and we can point fingers at every last person, and that's okay. We should look at this someday, and we should look at what went right and what went wrong.
Dissect it, learn from it, but
no one's doing it. No one's taking any. We need decisive leadership now, which I know some people will disagree. I think the president is he's a decisive guy. You can hate him, but he's a decisive guy.
Yeah.
When he comes and says, this is what we're doing, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And for the most part, he gets it done, man. Like, those hospital ships got there in no time. Yeah. They built a field hospital in Javits Center in New York City in 3 days. Like, the government doesn't work fast.
No.
Business, they work fast.
Yeah.
I remember when I was living in New York, they were trying to build this ice rink in Central Park. For years, they were millions and millions and millions of dollars over budget. Now, this was before Trump was into politics or anything, but he was a larger-than-life figure in New York City.
Yeah.
He was a giant developer. Everybody knows that. He finally went to the city and said, listen, I'll build the fucking ice rink. Just let me do it. Guys have been dicking around with this for fucking years. He went in there, and they were years into this project. Years. He went in there, and in 6 fucking months and under budget, he built the fucking ice rink. It's still up today. Lumen Rink.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Google.
It's yeah. I don't.
That pathetic bureaucracy couldn't fucking, dot an I or cross a T.
Yeah.
And a businessman, love him or hate him, went in there and took care of business. We have plenty of people in Congress, in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, that they could absolutely be taking some ownership and taking leadership instead of trying to place blame. Say, hey, what can I do to make this better?
Yeah.
What can we personally do to make this better? You know what? Yeah, fighting with Trump, not fighting with him would make it better, and him not bashing them would make it better.
Oh yeah, no, it goes both ways.
Someone has to put the ego in check.
Someone has to take the hit first and just.
Right.
I mean, dude, that's what I always try to do. Is like, it's like you can hate the guy. By all means, vote him out in November. Do it. Crush him. Kill him. I don't care. I don't mean literally kill him. Secret Service, don't come knocking. But I mean, like, but it's like, it's, I'm very conservative, but I remember a lot of conservatives attacking Obama right after the Boston bombing. They're like, oh, this is martial law. This is, and I just remember thinking, like, dude, like, the bodies are still warm. Like, in hindsight, let's go back and sure, we can dissect it and whether it's power overreach, whatever, but it's like, the bodies are still warm. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, it's, as much as you might not like the president is the pilot of the jumbo jet that we're all on. And yeah, sure, vote him out if you don't like the destination that we're going to. You want to go to this city versus that city. But when an engine blows out, it is not the time to go, fuck this pilot. It's time to go, what can we do? Hey, how can we make it better? We can manually tell you what's going on. I got eyes on the engine, right? It's so yeah, I mean, like, someone has to drop the ego first. And so, like, I always try to do that with like, Obama. Like, I always bring this up. I'm like, did you know that under Trump, all the bodies overseas from service members, or the bodies are flown through Dover Air Force Base. That's the only Air Force base in America. All the coffins, the flag-draped coffins, come here. Families come up and they receive their sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, cousins. And it wasn't until Trump that the government picked up the bill for them to come fly out and come stay at hotels for free. In our entire history as a country, we never did that until. And then what a lot of people don't know is that wasn't Trump. That was Obama. And I'm not an Obama fan, but God damn it, give the fucking guy credit where credit's due. Not under 9/11, not Vietnam, not Desert Storm, not World War II. It wasn't until the Obama administration that he said, hey, these families shouldn't have to take out $1,000 tickets. Because, when you find out someone died, you don't have 3 months to plan the ticket. You got to buy the ticket tomorrow. And so you're getting shafted on prices. So you got these families of people who, if your family member enlisted in the armed services, chances are that you're not, balling out with cash, because that's not always the first choice of people who don't have to do it. It wasn't under the Obama administration that they would fly up the families for free. You can come stay at this ballin' hotel for free. We'll have taxis come pick you up for free. And so that's one thing where it's like, just use that. As much as anyone may hate the Obama administration, if you can look at that and go, that is a genuine, awesome fucking thing. Well, if you can look at that, you can then open the door and go, maybe he did some other better stuff. Maybe I can put my ego, and saying this as a conservative myself, maybe I can put my ego aside and go, oh, wow, he did that. He probably did some other stuff, too, that I can like. Not only that, the universe goes for, what about Trump banning bump stocks or red flag laws? If you said that Obama did that, I'd be all up in arms. But now Trump did it. All of a sudden, you kind of get... What? Sorry, you just froze up. But yeah, it's so, and hey, So that's why I try to look at it, is like, try to choose one thing, just one thing that Trump did that as a liberal you may like. Hey, banning bump stocks or red flag laws. Hey, just, or, FDA right to try. Hey, just choose one thing. You don't have to admit it. You don't have to put it on social media and go, okay, Trump did something great. Just within yourself, if you can go, okay, that was okay. That was pretty good. Just maybe you can go, okay, maybe there's something else. I'm not saying you gotta like him. Vote him out. By all means, vote him out. I don't give a fuck. But, like, there's just, and it goes for everyone. Like, if we can just, someone has to drop the ego first and go, I fucked up. How can I make this better? If you do that, if you drop your ego first, that's when other people will start doing it and go, yeah, I fucked up too. But someone has to nut up, and so yeah, man, I'm the first to say it. There's literally podcast proof of me going, coronavirus isn't a big thing. So yeah, I mean, dude, I gotta suck that dick right now. I fucked up. I misrepresented it. But yeah, man, it's like we can get back to fucking hating each other, but it's like just choose one thing that he did that you don't even have to like. Choose one thing he did that you don't hate, and then go, okay, maybe we can.
It comes down to you have to be accepting of an opposing view. It's
Yes.
okay. I despised Obama, but I never said he wasn't my president.
Yeah.
I never said, oh, they're going to play the national anthem, I'm going to take a knee.
Yeah.
No, I never did anything like that. And if I had the opportunity to meet President Obama, I would have taken it. I don't like the guy. I didn't like his policies. I didn't like most of what he did. Now, I didn't know he had done that. But, yeah, you know what? That's a great thing that he did. Like, I'll use Andrew Cuomo as an example. He's a flaming liberal Democrat from New York. He's, for the most part, for New York, has done a terrible, terrible, terrible job in general governing New York. But I think from a leadership standpoint, and I don't agree with everything that he's done, I think he's done a good job in trying to steer New York through what's going on.
Yeah, beautiful.
I don't like the guy, but he's done a good job.
Yeah.
He comes on, he's clear, he's concise. He scolded his own brother, who's one of the most divisive guys on TV.
Yeah.
But just, again, and it kind of ties into that elitism, and it ties into not accepting, and it's not about me, it's only about you. And if the other side would just, or any side, you just have to, accept that there's an opposing view. Now, of course, whether it's conservatives, right, and I'm conservative myself, or, liberals, there's the radical fringes. And I have no problem. Like in the AOCs of this world, no way, man. That's way too radical.
And
then when you look,
but even
really evangelical, super ultra conservative right wing people.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that either.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, but even right now is like the point is like AOC. Like, no, I don't like her at all. But even now is not the time to shit on her. Now's the time to go, okay, you're in a position of leadership.
But see, someone like her comes out, and I'll use her as an example. Like, sometimes she can have, I don't even want to say good points, because I just don't understand her thinking a lot of the time. But, she's very popular. She has a tremendous platform. She does, she has a lot of power, whether we like her or not. She has a lot of power, and she has a huge platform. She's for people, they'll look at her. She's a pretty girl. She's very bubbly on TV. She knows how to get her message across. But like you use this coronavirus thing, and instead of just trying to, again, be part of the team, it's, oh, the virus is disproportionately killing black and colored people or people of color. Like, that is the last thing we need.
Exactly.
Thousands of people are dying. White, black, Chinese. Pick whatever nationality you want. Like, I'm Italian. Italy got destroyed and is getting destroyed with the virus. So I'm sure when you break it down by ethnicity group, I I don't think that we're going to find any one group was more adversely affected. And in all of this, that's what you have to say?
Yeah, but even with that, it's... Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about, saying it disproportionately affects people of color. But even with that, I'm looking at it as like, what can I do to put my own ego out of the way? Instead of saying you're wrong and then getting locked in a gridlock of saying you're wrong, why can't I just say, sure, like, and you work on that part? Because if she goes out of her way to help people of color, that's still people with coronavirus that are getting help. So I'm looking at it as like, I disagree with what she says, but like, if that's the battle she wants to pick and go for, let her have it and let her go give help to colored communities. That's because right now that's a group of people that will now be getting help. So again, it kind of comes down to like my own ego of just going like, fuck it, whatever. Like, in 3 months we can come back and we can argue about this, but it's like, if you want to go help this community specifically, go get it. Go. Like, I don't agree with like your logic, but like, because if we argue about it, no one's going to get help. So if I just sort of bend and just bend the knee and just go, you can have this one, well, then there's a group of people that are going to get help that if I sit here and argue about might not get help. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's...
No, listen, and I agree with your point, and that's a great way of looking at it, and I'm not opposed to it. Like, and I wouldn't
let her go fight that battle.
With her. Like, listen, in minority neighborhoods, historically, whether it's pandemics or just everyday life, they're affected by illness at a greater rate because
Absolutely.
They don't go to the doctor as frequently. They don't go to the doctor.
No,
they don't have health care available to them. Like, listen, I worked in New York City, and I worked in the ghettos in New York City my whole career. I picked a lot of people up off the street, took them to the hospital. No hospital ever turned them away. In my last assignment where I was in, which was like Richmond Hill, Jamaica area of Queens, we had our regular drunks. We would pick them up, and they'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bracelets on their arm. So the system doesn't turn these people away when they need help. It's just that, they don't seek it right away. And then once they do seek it, then they're usually in very bad shape, and it's easy for them to get overwhelmed. Now, I'm not saying that the premise of what she's saying is that she could say they're being affected, but they're not being affected and everyone else is doing good, because this is wiping out people all over the place. And I like the way you put it to say, hey, if you want to take your district and you want to try to do the best that you can for your district, God bless you, man.
Exactly.
That's what you're elected for.
Exactly.
Not to go and be divisive.
Exactly. So
you right away, it's just like anything, right? Whether you're in business or in any type of thing, or sales, or even as when I was a captain of hard charging special operations firefighters. If I would go and poke a guy in the chest, or I would basically put them on the defensive, you're not going to get responsive people back. You want to take people, you want to give them some ownership, you want them to be part of the team. Your district is heavily affected. That's great. You know what? You're probably right. Ms. Cortez. What ideas and plans do you have?
Yeah, and that's where
what can we do to help you, instead of just slamming your fist down on the table, yelling divisive statements. I always used to tell my guys, like, listen, if there's something that we don't like, a policy, a procedure, a strategy, a tactic, whatever, chief tells us to do something, and we didn't like it, well, you can't just say, I don't like it, I don't want to do it, this is bullshit, that guy Tommy doesn't know shit. Well, we better have a good answer. Say, hey, listen, chief, I know what you want done, and I know what you asked for. What do you think if we do it this way?
Yeah.
And if he's a decent leader, he might look at it and say, all right. My thing with my guys were, a lot of the times I would just say, look, we need to accomplish this task. Get it done. And I wouldn't micromanage what they were doing. I would let them do the task. And if at the end it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it, or what the desired outcome was, then we would look at it and say, hey, look, this is what went right, this is what went wrong, and this is what we need to do in the future. But those people had ownership, and they did a good job on it. So you want to do something great. Don't just throw shit out there. Say, this is what's wrong, and here's the answer for it. Or let's start in this place. The whole thing on both sides. And listen, the Republicans are just as guilty. And some, come to Trump's defense, like no matter what he does. As at times, it's okay to call him, when he steps over the line, which he does do.
Call him a dipshit. It's fine.
But everyone, and that's the difference that I told you from 9/11 to now, we're not together. They're trying to say that the country's doing a great job, and it is. The rank and file people in the country are doing great jobs. And yes, CEOs of companies are doing great jobs. And, whether you like them or you don't, I'm not a big fan of Elon Musk, but he was one of the first guys that said, look, I'll make ventilators. You got it. I'll retool all my factories. I'll start making ventilators immediately. Other companies did the same thing. Those are people that are making decisions. They're being decisive. I listened to a press conference today from, Hogan from Maryland. And I voted for the guy, and he's a Republican. I think he's a horrible leader because all he does is go on TV and blame everybody else.
Yeah.
All right, this guy, and I told this guy, and I told Trump, and all right, guy, come on, man. Like, you want me to send you a list of stuff that I think you did poorly? Because I could do that. So just get it done, guy. Yeah. Stop complaining. Stop pointing fingers. I hate when people love to pump themselves up. I was one of the first governors. Do this, stop it, or you must, you will shelter in place. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, very good. Well, I live on the other side of the Bay Bridge, and for a while, our cases were really low, and on your side of the Bay Bridge, they were really high. But you let people traverse all over the state. So guess what? Everybody's numbers are going up.
Yeah.
So was that a good choice, Governor Hogan? No, probably not. But again, we need to all work together, and they're not. There's Camp A, there's Camp B, and they hate each other so bad that, like you said, no one's getting credit for anything. Yeah. No one. Like, you can't say, oh, you know what? Obama did a great job on that thing with the
Dover Air Force Base, the deceased servicemen, yeah.
And there's plenty of stuff that he did good. There's plenty of stuff that Trump did great. There's plenty of stuff that, Bush did great, and Clinton. You go down the list, and then there's plenty of really fucked up shit that all of them did.
Hey, dude, Nixon did good shit. Nixon, the crook, he did good shit.
Crazy shit. Like, who's one of the most revered Democratic presidents ever? John F. Kennedy. Yeah. Read some books on John F. Kennedy. Read some books on his history.
He was a player. Yeah, he would be crucified today.
Ow.
Yeah, he was a pimp.
Whatever you want to do, but
not only that though, conservatives are just as guilty because he was Catholic. So a lot of conservatives voted for him because he was Catholic. It's like we're all eating shit. But I think you said it perfectly with AOC. Is you said, well, another thing you said is like we're not coming together. So instead of us beating our chest and saying no one's coming together, what can you and I do, Tony and Tommy, do right now? So instead of just saying no one's coming together, what can we do to practice what we preach and come together? I think we, both Trump supporters, both conservatives, I think we can both say, we can agree. Hey, AOC, that's great. What are you going to do it right now? And what can I do to help? And when this all blows over, I can try to vote her out, whatever. What are you doing right now? I don't disagree with that. You think it's hurting these communities more? Well, I don't agree with that, but you do want to help. That is awesome. That is a group of people that are now going to get help that weren't going to get help if we kept arguing. So what are you doing to help? So instead of, this idiot, hey, you're in a position of power. You have a large following. What can I do to help? I don't agree with 99% of what you say. What can I do to help? And that goes for, so it's not just that we can sit here and go, all the liberals resisting Trump. Now is not the time. You and I and every other conservative right now, we have to go, well, what good is it doing pointing that out? Nothing. It's just furthering the divisiveness. So,
yeah. And listen, there's glimpses of it working. There's no two ways about it. I mentioned Andrew Cuomo from New York. Yeah. Again, not a fan. Gavin Newsom from California. Again, I'm really not a fan. Those two guys have both said publicly, and probably to their detriment at some point in time, that Trump has been extremely responsive. I watched an interview with Newsom the other day where an anchor from, CNN, obviously extremely left-leaning, just tried to bait him into like a clash with Trump, even to the point as and Joy Behar, that blithering fool from The View, like why anyone even cares what movie stars or comedians. I don't really care what your opinion is.
Yeah.
Just make me laugh
or
make a cool movie or play football, whatever it is. I don't care about your opinion. But they were like, oh, well, are you just saying nice things because Trump will be, nasty to you? And the guy's like, no. I asked him, whenever I call, he picks up the phone. Whenever I ask him for something, he sends it to me. So right now, our working relationship is good. He goes, I don't know what you're trying to get at. He goes, I got like 36 lawsuits against the guy. I'm obviously not a Trump fan. But right now, he's helping
not the
me.
time.
And he's doing what I'm asking him to do.
Yeah, and now is not the time to hold our grudges because people will literally die if we can't put our egos aside. So, I almost,
You look at right? Those two governors, in my opinion, are doing the best job.
Yeah.
They're not complaining.
Hats off to them.
Well, someone did for a little bit. They're not pointing as many fingers, and they're doing the best job. They have the two biggest states in the country with the two biggest issues.
Yeah.
And you look around, Michigan going down the drain, Louisiana's circling the drain at high speed, all these other places. And what are they doing? Oh, no, you. Hogan here. Every day he comes out, he's blaming somebody else. Okay, guy, that's not the way to go about it.
Yeah. And not only that, but what do we, again, take them as the pilot? So right now I live in I obviously live in Maryland. Let's say I live in New York, and right now AOC is my pilot. Not only does it not do me any good to say I think you're wrong, what do I get if it turns out she is wrong and that all of her efforts are for naught? Hey, my pilot's gonna crash the plane. Told you she was a shitty pilot. Well, hey, fucker, you're 10 rows behind her. You're crashing too. There's nothing, I don't get anything out of her. Yeah, I told you so as we plow into a mountainside. So prove me wrong. I want her to prove me. I hope every Democrat that we're shitting on right now, I hope they come through in flying colors because, hey, the casualty will be my ego and the bonus will be a lot of people didn't die. So it's that's what we can do right now is even just you and I in our own little social circles and text groups, if you see someone shitting on someone from the far left, be like, dude, now's not the time. Now's not the time. That's the person in power, and right now they have the connects. They have they're the position of power. They can call the right people. Good. Let's if the guy if some dude banged your wife, but right now you guys are storming Omaha Beach together. Now's not the time to hate him. You can hate him, but guess what? If he dies, well, now there's no one watching your six, and now you're gonna die. Storm the beach, kill the Nazis, and then you can never talk to them again in your life.
All we can do is hope.
Exactly. So, yeah, again, let's do that on a closing note. I hope AOC, I hope every liberal, I hope they do a fantastic fucking job. Because it's bigger than this right now. It's bigger than when it comes November, we can all go back to slapping each other about petty shit. Not right now.
And this is not about elections. People even still talking polls. Like you said, this is about everyone getting, putting their nose to the grindstone and getting this squared away.
Yeah.
And that's not. Who cares about polls? Who cares about November right now? Who cares about it right now? I mean, yeah, it'll be consequential, but we can't care about it right now. We're in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, it's not the time.
Like you said, let's have I don't want California to fail. I don't want the Bronx to fail.
I have all of us.
All my friends that lives in New York. I don't have to like it politically, but I don't want it to fail. And it's going down the shitter in a lot of areas. Of course, that's the point of when we come together. And that was the difference in 9/11. Everyone was like, yeah, we're in the same team and we need to succeed and we need to push forward. And there'll be plenty of time to look back in retrospect and see what went right and what went wrong. But and hopefully we learn from it, because there's just some things that are going on that is just terrible that you just wouldn't imagine. And when we look back at it, if you don't learn from history, you're just bound to repeat it again.
And when we get to a point where this is history, we can look back at it. But it's like right now, if we say like it's not like 9/11 because no one's coming together, well, 9/11 everyone came together. Who's everyone? Well, technically you and I are part of everyone. So if I don't see everyone coming together, well then again, like we said at the beginning of the podcast, if we say he's not doing everything, it's like, well, are you isolating in place? Well, then you can't. So it's like everyone's not coming together. Well, then what am I personally, in my limit, 340 million people here, in my social circle of 20 people, what am I doing to help us come together? If I'm not doing my best to put aside my ego and go, and if I'm not willing to go, hey, yeah, you know what? Trump does a lot of stupid fucking shit. If I'm not able to put my ego aside, well, then I can't blame the rest of the country for not coming together, because everyone else is just like me. They're just people we all look at and go, oh, the rest of the country, I only know 20 people. Well, everyone only knows 20 people. So it's like, so what can I do right now? If someone says Trump's an idiot and he's handling it poorly, okay, sure. What can we do to make it better? Even if I don't fucking agree with you, what can we do to make it better? Because ultimately, it's not people just like you and
general.
I. Yeah.
I just asked that question in general. Oh, he sucks. Okay, what do you want done?
Yeah.
Done.
And not even.
Tell me what you want done.
And not even
what you want done right now that would be beneficial. And I've always believed this, whether it was a brand new guy in the firehouse or a seasoned veteran. No idea is a bad idea. You may send your congressman an email and say, hey, did you guys even think about maybe doing this? Yeah. And they go, wow, holy shit. Now, they may take credit for it and say, oh, who cares?
Yeah.
Right? But if you don't have a plan of correction, and some people, well, they're the federal government, they should know. Well, no, you can't say that. They're still human beings.
Yeah, they're just you and me.
Right. And there is no playbook. I'm talking to all my friends back in New York City that are still on the job in the fire department. And the fire department in New York City right now is taxed beyond belief.
I'm sure.
And the term that they're using is, there's no playbook for this. We're writing it now.
Exactly. We're making it up as we go.
Playbook. And even with pandemics, and we've had pandemics before, it hasn't kind of smacked us in the face the way this one did. So, hey, guess what? We're rewriting the playbook. There's not a playbook for everything.
No,
so you have to be able to handle things on the fly. Again, another good, part of leadership, and just personal, accountability. Like, if you just crumble at every sense of the term, and that's the problem. I was listening to a podcast today, actually, as I was doing my work. I was listening to Jocko, and he was interviewing the guy, Dan Crenshaw, who just wrote a book, Fortitude. And his thing is that we're in this, like, victim society now. Everyone's a victim. Well, that's a terrible way to look at it, because then everyone feels they've been wronged, and everyone feels that someone owes them something. So it's like, everyone gets a participation trophy, because we don't want anyone's feelings to get. So, well, if you don't know the difference between winning and losing, how are you ever going to strive to get better? We're going to find a vaccine for this, and America is doing better than these other countries, even though a lot of people say they won't. But when you really look at the statistics, and when we look back at this in history, that America did a lot better based on the population and how things played out. And we made a lot of mistakes too. It's because of the entrepreneurship and the ingenuity of the American people and the doctors. And, some of the things that they're doing, what are they doing? They're fast-tracking shit. Because normally everything takes fucking eons to get. Yeah. Now they're fast-tracking shit, and you're taking the reins off of the people and the regulations, and you're going to let people that are brilliant, brilliant people, they're going to find the vaccine. The people that figured out, and it wasn't even here, I think it started over in France, that, the hydroxychloroquine and, combining it with some antibiotics.
Azithromycin.
Of course, some people, that's snake oil. Okay, well, no, they're doctors. These are people much smarter than us. You were in medical school, so you know.
No, I got in and didn't go. Can't take credit for
Either
going.
way,
Yeah.
you had the ability to go. The point is that there's some very smart people, and some of the doctors were just like, well, screw you. We're going to start using these drugs anyway because I know what I understand what I'm dealing with here. So, and they found some pretty good success with it.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with that? Oh no, we haven't had 6-month clinical trials. We don't have 6 months.
6 months. Yeah, exactly.
This is the clinical trial.
Yeah.
This is the clinical trial.
It's like
and I think everyone would say, okay, I understand why you use the hydroxychloroquine and this, and it's been used for malaria for years. So it's not like some drug that Tommy Carrigan made and just made up.
Yeah, cooking meth. Yeah. And it's what I've heard with that is let's you all right with wrapping this up?
Yeah, man.
I was gonna say on a final note, the drugs, and everyone's like, we haven't had clinical trials. Like, how do we not know that this is gonna kill people? And it's like, it could very well kill people. Is it gonna kill less people than coronavirus? Well, then we gotta fire it off, man. It's like, hey, man. It's like it's not always dropping a nuke. Hey, guess what? There are some American POWs. There are 10 POWs in Hiroshima who were killed by the atomic bomb, but a lot more lived because of it. It's hey man, there's gonna be could it kill some people? Maybe hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin, maybe it kills some people and has some bad reactions. Is it less than the number of people dying from COVID? Yeah. So, but let's definitely do another one because I think today was mostly dedicated to Big Mike and coronavirus. I don't think we didn't talk about NYPD at all. Let's have another one. Let's do another podcast.
FDNY. That's where I spent the bulk of my career.
I'll text you after this. Let's set one up and actually talk about that because we didn't really. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk to you, and I think you'd be an awesome guest for that. But yeah, man. Let's I hope everyone can work together. I hope we can all put our egos aside, eat a slice of humble pie, and admit that we're all douchebags with egos. If we can admit that now, a lot of people who are not us will get to live because it's not you and I that are gonna die. It's gonna be a lot of there are a lot of older people like old John right now who's probably going, stop arguing and figure this out because I'm gonna die. So let's here's to the United States pulling through with flying colors and learning from it. So good talk, Tony. Rest in peace, Big Mike.
One more. One more to Big Mike up there.
Yeah, rest in peace, Big Mike.
I'm cocktail looking down saying, look at those go back.
Look at those dipshits thinking they're political geniuses. Those assholes. Yeah, you're both fucking pussies. Yeah, give me coronavirus. I'll fight it. Yeah, shout out Big Mike. Rest in peace.
God rest his soul.
I'm sure he's laughing his ass off at us. He's a guardian angel looking at us with a middle finger. That's actually I texted the manager of Powerhouse and we're like, rest in peace, Big Mike. And I was like, you know what? Big Mike's slamming beers and arm wrestling communists in heaven. I got you. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. That's the thing is Big Mike, as American as you can get, Big Mike, I guarantee you he's already befriended every communist in heaven because that's who Big Mike is. So, yeah, man. Good talking, Tony. I'll text you. Let's do it. Let's set one up. And, I'd love to talk to you about your actual experiences serving in New York and 9/11. I think that would be a great episode.
All right, you got it, man.
All right, Tony.
Till next time.
Yep. Stay safe.
See you, man.
Peace.